dissolve the waste, we use horsetail or sanicle, and that dissolves the waste and we shrink the tumor. That would be most effective. The lady could take that orally and dish with it, and rub it on the 3 inches below, 3 finger lengths below the navel, the top of the uterus. Rub it on that area to help get rid of these tumors. But over 60% of all black ladies have them. It's epidemic.
Right.
It's shutting down the ability to reproduce. It's an attack on the reproductive system of women. That's essentially all it is.
Yeah, because I see it is really like epidemic proportion right about now.
It's getting worse. It starts around 11 to 12 actually. We just see it when the lady is around 25 and 30, but it starts around 11 or 12. It's very high amongst little girls where the father dies or leaves the relationship. When the father's in the household, the girls menstruate later. When he's not there, the girls menstruate earlier. So it's a big issue there that the father is playing a part that's impacting the daughter if he's not making the relationship viable. That part we don't put the men on the men because we don't take any blame. Men don't take any blame in chauvinistic medicine, so we don't look at that issue. But that is also a contributory issue. Not to mention the tampons and the Kotex, which have dioxin bleach in them, which also causes endometriosis, inflammation of the pelvic area, we call urinary tract infection. All of that's playing into this, the tampons and the sanitary.
Tampons is like a toxic shock. What came out of that one time, is it?
Yeah, they call it endocrine disruptors, chemicals like DDT, roach spray, and bleach that's in them. And they're super absorbent. So if the lady's having a light period, it's going to absorb the moisture out of the uterus. If she's having if the period's very light, it's still super absorbent. It's going to pull moisture out of the uterus and vagina and making them weaker. All that's contributing to this whole factor here. Not only to mention the thongs, which is another issue altogether, because they're mostly made out of nylon, which stops the breathing of the vagina itself. Nylon underwear and pantyhose, that stops the air from getting into the uterus.
I've heard that like the cotton type of material is much better.
Cotton is much better. We should say blood cotton, blood rice, blood sugar cane, blood diamonds, because we're involved in all these things from the slavery. So we should not only say blood diamond, we should say blood cotton, blood sugar cane, blood rice. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's another, we have been always a victim of this, and now we're still a victim of it. That's why I'm using the word blood. We're still the victim of sugar. We're still the victim of cotton. We're still
up to this day.
Up to this day, blood on everything. Our blood, of course.
Well, this AIDS. This AIDS.
AIDS, technically, the guy who discovered the retrovirus said this is not causing that disease. This is not causing that disease. That's Dunsberg out in California, UCLA. He said, this is not causing that disease. He's the one who discovered the retrovirus, but nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
The man who discovered it, he said, no, this ain't it. The problem is that the test itself is not a perfect test. So if you take the ELISA test or the block test, it has 80% false positives. So if 100 people take the test, 100 people have AIDS, 80 of them do not have AIDS.
They just show up positive?
Right, and what shows up positive is pneumonia, osteoporosis, another retrovirus, parasites, arthritis. All of this is causing the positive for AIDS. Pregnancy, prior pregnancy, tuberculosis, malaria, all this is protein malnutrition, which is the largest cause of the positive. All of this is causing AIDS. And protein malnutrition is already a disease anyway, so why call it AIDS? That's the question. But the issue is people are dying, but they're dying from destroying their immune system, from alcohol, from eating white sugar, from eating fried foods, chitlins, hamburgers. All of that creates trans oils, as we call it, creates plastic. They're eating plastic, which we call trans oils. That's what happens with it. Yes, that's basically plastic.
It's plastic, you're saying?
Yeah, that's all it is. And they're doing this milk, which is basically liquid pus. It becomes a liquid pus-like plastic. So all of these things are weakening the immune system till eventually they, and you put an allegorical, we say that's the straw that broke the camel's back. So eventually they do one thing, aspirin or Tylenol, which collapsed the immune system, and they say AIDS. But all along they've been stacking this one thing after another to destroy the immune system. Tylenol, aspirin, cocaine, sodas, sugar, salt, and it collapses.
So you're saying AIDS really is no such thing as AIDS, really?
Well, technically, if a lady has iron deficiency anemia,
Right.
you cannot catch her deficiency. You cannot catch someone else's deficiency. Autoimmune deficiency, you can't catch someone's deficiency.
Right, that's what it's autoimmune
Immune deficiency, and you cannot catch a woman's iron deficiency. It's absurd. What is happening is the immune system is being destroyed, but it's being destroyed by McDonald's, trans oils, which are plastic, that plastic pus called milk, Tylenol, aspirin. All of this is just not vaccinations, which is nothing but pus and chemicals. All of this is.
So what do you see that be happening over there, like in the homeland, when they say someone over there in Africa gets AIDS, so to speak? Is McDonald's?
They control the water supply.
Okay.
They're not getting water. The food is not raised on healthy soil because the Europeans control the healthiest soils with their cocoa plants. They control that best soil, so whatever they're growing is on depleted soil. Soil that's been drenched and washed with manure, dog, cattle, pigs, and all that. All of that has to be factored into it. So what we do is try to cleanse the blood with blood cleansers like red clover or chaparral or burdock root or dandelion root, trying to cleanse the blood constantly from this onslaught of polluted air, polluted water, polluted
As
chemicals.
long as the blood is clean, no disease really can like live in the system, isn't that true?
Ideally, that's true. But people are starting off at a zero because they're not starting off breastfed. They're starting off with all these chemicals in the cow's milk. You see, all this the bacteria they put in
I just
there.
thought that was like bleached blood.
Yeah, it's basically the blood of the cow in another form, but it still has the steroids in it, it still has the estrogen in it, it still has all these chemicals
Drugs
in
and
it,
stuff,
ammonia, arsenic. They're starting off that way, and to teach women to breastfeed in the hospitals now, they give them sugar and water. White sugar and water, say spread it on the breast, then let the child suck on your breast. So it addicts the child to sugar from the beginning. They're starting off at zero. That's all that's happening, and it's basically malnutrition forced on Africa by the Europeans. Texaco, Monsanto, the Chinese are the second largest exploiters of Africa.
Yeah, 'cause I see
Third
them,
of the Japanese.
see them guys over, brothers and sisters in Africa. It seems like somebody gets so-called HIV or AIDS in Africa, it's like nowadays it's like you're dead in 3 months.
Yeah,
type of thing.
From the doctors I communicate with in Africa and South
You know
Africa,
what I
we're an
mean?
organization, they said that the people think these missionaries, black missionaries and white missionaries, whatever, they go over there and teach you this is for having some kind of sin, for doing that ugly culture voodoo stuff. This is what you have to pay. This is the price. So they accept this disease. They will not take herbal remedies or drug remedies because they believe this is God's.
Because
act.
it wasn't with Jesus, it wasn't working with Jesus. So that's the punishment. That's what he's saying.
Essentially, yes. So it's not that this Jesus boy, which I don't know too much about. It's just a delivery system. It's the delivery system the Europeans use to maintain white domination. So we got to look at the source of what's going on. Because if you attack Jesus, it doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
If you attack AIDS, it won't solve the problem. If you attack the school system, it will not solve the problem. You
But
got to
I
go
would
to
think
the
in order
source
for
of
us
the
to
issue.
understand it, we'll be able to, can fight it more or stand up to it.
Understanding and knowing how the brain thinks